Oh my God, we're back. Or at least to you, to us, we're back. But to you, we're back, I guess, as well. We're back to everyone. Face my backside.
Okay.
And freshly meat-filled, apparently.
It's 2019. It's about time.
Yeah, the Problematic Sticker podcast is back. We've been away a while, like a month or so. But I feel like we've all been tired with other stuff because seasonal stuff is the worst.
I'm glad the fucking holidays are over. I fucking hate the holidays.
New Year's
every
over.
year.
We're ready for the animes. We missed it. We're ready to stick stickers on stuff and talk about stuff that we shouldn't talk about on something like this. And we're so thankful, God, that Stephen doesn't actually listen to our podcasts. Thank you, Stephen. Don't listen. Don't ever listen. So, animes. Mob Psycho's back. Dragon Ball has hit the cinemas. All of the good stuff and more. Including the fact that Dragon Ball is one of the best-selling animes ever. But of course, before we go into the news, information, and what we've been watching, which has been a few things, because we have the stuff and listened. Tim, how are you?
Hi. I'm okay.
Are you excited to be back on the Problematic Sticker podcast?
I'm always excited for problematic things.
We've finally stopped back up on stickers. It's taken 2 months because they were on back order because of Chris, but we've finally got them back, and we're back.
Hey, it's not. It doesn't matter that we ran out. The point is that we used them all, and it was a profit.
Yeah. The company's like, thank you.
The company thanks you.
So, Tim.
The Commonwealth thanks you.
What have you been watching? Have you been watching the animes?
I watched the anime this week. Anyone wanted to watch? I watched a little bit more JoJo's again. Yep, Be the Beginning. Yeah. Also watched some more JoJo's because, fan service.
I've got to go into JoJo's after what you described it as earlier.
Yeah. Boy fan service, not girl fan service.
Sounds sexist now.
You haven't watched it. I'm going to send you a GIF.
Critical of you, Tim.
Gary, I'm going to send you a GIF, and if it does nothing for you, then you're the straightest person I know.
Don't send me the one where he's licking the lollipop all weird and shit.
Oh, I'm sending you the one where he's licking the lollipop all weird.
Yes. Send it to me. I want this GIF.
Oh, okay. I'll send it to you.
Actually, send it me as an image so I can add it as our logo for this week's episode.
Oh, God, yes.
Okay.
Boom.
Look at that. JoJo's lollipop GIF. Google. Oh my God! Hang on.
Please.
Tim will be back in 15 minutes.
No, I'm already.
15 minutes. Try 15 milliseconds.
No,
he's going to Arby's right now.
He's got a meat craving.
Well done.
He wants that meat mountain.
Yeah, it's a meat craving. It's very specific and
stuff his face full of meat.
Among other orify.
Yeah.
Actually, the plural is orifices.
Yeah, orifices. Orify.
It's not a Latin word.
Fantastic. See, you learned something new.
See, you learned Arabic in the anime podcast.
Yes.
I'm always here just in case there's the 0.4% chance of there being a need for an English brain.
Yeah.
We always need your brain, Tim. It's not just for the English parts.
No.
Wait, are we talking? Wait, you eating my brain? I give a good brain.
Brian's.
Yes.
I put it in, there. There's the GIF. There's the GIF then.
Yay!
Oh, thank you, JoJo's, for opening my eyes to my truth.
Yeah, I've seen that GIF. That's a good GIF.
Yep. I'm pretty confident that the meme and GIF presence of JoJo's is so vast that you probably have seen most of JoJo's without actually watching it.
That is a fine GIF.
That is a fine GIF.
that GIF encompasses the entirety of JoJo's.
Dude,
and you know JoJo's is going to be in Jump Force coming out next month on February 15th. Yeah. Ooh, there we go. There's some news. We promised
I gotta
news.
tell you, that was the fact that JoJo's is now in Jump Force makes me want Jump Force. Like, I didn't really care until JoJo's. You know what?
If you buy Jump Force, I'll buy Jump Force.
You're going to buy Jump Force anyway.
No, I wasn't sure myself.
Oh.
I only wanted it because of Yugi.
I thought you were going to say you, but
yeah.
Never mind.
Well, I want it now. Well, I said I'll buy it because if you buy it, so technically. I mean, I'll probably end up buying it anyway, but...
Well, you guys already started this with Xenoverse, so now Jump Force would be perfect.
There are no bad characters on this roster, Kaiba.
Yeah, except for maybe... Trunks.
Never mind. Yeah, you... you win.
Future failure Trunks. There's androids coming, guys, in the future. What do they look like?
Oh my god.
Some purple splodges.
Yep.
And I don't know what they look like, even though they murdered everyone in my timeline. I don't know what...
Yeah, you watched them murder your mentor, but you can't remember what they look like.
I can't remember what they look like, guys.
And they themselves made you turn Super Saiyan.
Can't remember
inadvertently.
What they look like.
They do get hit on the head a lot, so I'm not surprised brain damage may occur. Another.
I mean...
And Trunks is the pretty boy, so he's not supposed to be the smart one.
Really bad drawing like Jacko did for Frieza. Imagine if Trunks had just like, okay, they look like this, and then had like a crayon picture of Android 17 and 18. But give it 17 the blonde hair instead.
Well, see, that's like Rukia in Bleach, how she's always making drawings and things like that. Like, yeah, Trunks.
So the androids look a bit like this, and then, you know, have a picture of Android 17 in like Android 18's outfit, and do the gender bender version of 17 and 18. So when they turn up, they're confused.
Yes. You must be Jihachigo. No, I'm Jinanago.
Just don't make Super 17 that fuse with 18 canon, because that's just the most horrible thing ever.
Well, Tim was excited to fuse two Super 17s together until he actually saw how it happened in GT, and then it turned him off.
Yeah.
So Gary,
well, no, I mean, I feel like fusion.
What do you mean? He got long hair. It's easier to pull from the back.
Oh my god, I still like the fusion. I just don't like. I like the fusion, but not the execution.
Have you seen the fusion of 17 and 18?
Yeah.
In what context, Ben? Because yes, but not what you're thinking. No, I doubt it's what you're talking about.
But they're brothers, I guess. I'm not going to kink shame.
Incest is best.
Oh my god, don't.
No,
this is anime podcast.
And this is why Tim hasn't, or Chris hasn't been on the podcast for a long time.
You know, I'm enjoying the mystique that surrounds it, because when I disappear after saying something awful or making a terrible joke, or just general fuckery, then people wonder, like, did he go to prison? Did they kick him off the show? Like, what's going on? And then I come back.
When you come back, it's because we've finally saved enough money to bail you out.
Especially with fan fiction.
And then I come back with even more experience and more horrible things to share.
Then we have to save up for another.
I get it.
But we love you, Chris. Don't change.
I never can at this point.
That's good. So, Dragon Ball. I know we're going to talk about Broly after the podcast, by the way. I've decided that because I haven't listened to it, well, I haven't watched it, I haven't listened to it as well, either, you know. I don't want to listen to then talk about the Broly stuff, even though I've pretty much spoiled the movie myself. I just don't want to. Because I don't want to... I might have spoiled most of the story, but I don't want to spoil my expectations.
Yeah, and you definitely don't...
I know it sounds weird, but, you know.
The fighting itself is something I wouldn't want people to spoil for themselves either. Gary, Tim, and I have all seen the movie, and because it's fresh in North America, we really want to spill our guts about it. So
for those that in North America that haven't seen it, or will be seeing it soon, and for those in Europe who haven't been able to see it because it's not out yet because the world hates us, because it's out on the 23rd in the UK. Well, though there was early premiere stuff if you'd got tickets, but they were limited. So 23rd and 24th is when it comes out. It's really annoying because there's literally one showing on the 23rd and one showing on the 24th.
Dum.
Yeah, there's a whole 2 showings in most cinemas in England, and there's only 6 cinemas in England showing it. So
I don't think that anime hates you guys. I just think that you guys aren't excited enough about anime.
It's sold out.
See, okay, let me change my point. You guys, the anime fans in the UK, are excited enough, but I don't think that they're seeing enough of like early on revenue just yet, like they are in North America.
Well, yeah,
to actually start doing like you know, those things. And it's coming. I think you guys, the market is increasing. You guys are coming, but just not soon.
Also phrasing.
Well, you know, it didn't take till 2010. I think it was 2010 or 2011 that we actually got our first official release of Dragon Ball Z. So that's
not
when we finally. That's when we got they released the DVDs. That was the first time we ever got an actual purchasable release of Dragon Ball.
2010. My God.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't say much here because it did take us a lot. Well, like I said, we got it sooner than you guys did, but you guys are on the way.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fact that you're getting it like a week after is an improvement, but it still sucks.
And I was expecting like My Hero was a couple of months, if I'm rightly. So I was expecting like a month or so.
Oh my God. You know, I still have not seen the My Hero.
I haven't either. It
came out last year. Ugh, I need to. We need to see it and talk about it sometime.
We do. Release it on the Blu-rays. Funimation. Also release a big green dub version of My Hero, because why not?
Yes, please.
The big gay star has betrayed. I know that's not Big Green, but I think of that now whenever I think of Big Green.
Sold.
The big gay star.
The big gay star.
The big gay star let me cheat erections. How could this be?
No wonder Tim likes Cooler so much.
It's those big bulging biceps.
Exactly. And he's cooler.
Now, see, I thought you were a fan of Full Power Frieza and his big bulginess.
Anyway, last I heard that the Dragon Ball movie has reached 7 million sales in America on the first day.
Yeah, #1 movie.
Yeah. It's beaten the Aquaman's. Aquafresh.
Aquaman's been out for 4 weeks.
Yeah, still, it's an anime movie.
But yes, it is. It's beating out a lot of new releases, which is fucking incredible.
It's it's not going to beat Pokemon, but it's going to get close, which is crazy.
You know, you never know. Combined, it might do it.
It's beating the combined sales of all the other previous Dragon Ball movies, eh? Because Broly. Broly.
Well, I don't think it's just Broly. It's because people now watch, all of Super and all that, and yeah,
Dragon Ball Super. Oh, I can't wait till you guys can talk about it so I can sit here and not listen to it. That's going to be my favorite part. I think it was it 54 million so far worldwide? I think that's the last number I saw.
I haven't looked at the numbers yet. I can look right now.
Yeah, I think 54 million was the last number I heard, which is like 20 million off Pokemon. So we'll see how it does worldwide. What have we? Mob Psycho's back. We're going to talk about that next week with the weeklies. Mob Psycho 100, isn't it? Yay! Tim, you excited?
For the most part, I'm a little worried just because Madhouse Studios isn't in charge of animation anymore, and I don't know. We'll see. I've been a little apprehensive to start it again, the second season. We'll see.
Chris, do you like Mob Psycho?
I've seen the first 2 episodes.
Nice.
Fucking awesome. Again, I'm so happy that back and that Mob is back and Reagan is back and he's as awesome as he ever was. And I can't wait to talk about it. I love it so much.
Also,
Reagan
the
is
person that tweeted that we're gone. We're not gone. We're back. I forgot who tweeted. So, I'm sorry, I didn't write your name down. But thank you for tweeting the fact that you asked if we've gone, because that made me smile that someone cared.
We love you, long time.
We love you, person that tweeted us. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed.
And if you listen to this and it was you, I've got hiccups now.
That's
that's
what.
If it was you,
if you're listening, I have hiccups now.
That means he's thinking about you.
Give us a tweet,
Ooh.
and I might give you, say, a little reward, maybe, as a thank you.
Ooh, little
like,
wink, nudge.
I don't know if you got PSN or Xbox or Steam, I'll give you like a voucher. So, contact us, and I'll give you a voucher for either PSN, Xbox, or Steam, or whatever you use. Maybe you got Android, maybe you got Apple, whatever. But I shouldn't reward you for having Apple products, but still.
Hey.
Hashtag.
Okay, so I got the numbers if you still want them.
Yeah, we want those numbers.
Okay, so Broly in the U.S. and Canada on opening day did 7 million.
That's nearly over 9 million.
Which is
9 million?
More than the combined of the top 10 movies on the list.
Wow.
So it did more than all the other movies combined on the first day that were still playing in theaters.
I remember it was a limited release as well.
Yeah, so 7 million, it topped Resurrection of F, which came out to a 1.97 million. So that's a massive jump from Resurrection F.
My fellow Dragon Ball fans, you've made me proud. You've shown that you really, really do love this series.
Yeah, it's estimated to do around 15 million in the first week here in U.S. and Canada. That's not counting Europe yet because it's not even out yet. But it has already done 57 million internationally.
Wow.
That's not even counting the 7 million on the first day plus the 15 that it's estimated to do. So,
good work, Dragon Ball.
It's freaking huge. And good time for anime, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it eclipsed the My Hero opening, which was crazy as well.
Okay, so here is... Oh, okay, I just found a website that updates you daily. Oh. So it has now officially done 21 million domestically. Internationally, 54 million. So combined, it's done over 75 million.
That's more than Pokemon then, I think. I think Pokemon was close to 75 million. That's crazy. That is...
Yeah, I think it has surpassed it, yeah.
Wow. And that was Pokemon in its heyday, by the way. I'm not talking about like a new one. That was like the first in 2000 movie where it's like the hype is shit.
Mm-hmm.
That is mental. Good work, Dragon Ball. They used the Dragon Balls to resurrect that franchise, and it worked.
They used a franchise that has been dormant for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And look what it's done.
Does that mean I'm finally going to get my favorite reboot? Are we going to get a new Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons?
Yes.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
Actually, I never watched it. It's even older than I am, but... I
hope this means that we'll get more animes in theaters here. I mean, it almost has to.
But what animes would actually work? We could have that as a little discussion quickly, actually.
Well, Studio Ghibli has always released their stuff in theaters, but it's been incredibly limited.
But I'm talking like, because Dragon Ball's like a weekly anime, what would really... I guess a bigger One Piece anime movie? I can't really think of anything that would... Like One Punch Man. I love One Punch Man, but I don't think that would do well as an actual movie.
My Hero Academia did well.
Yeah.
But obviously not to this level. But I don't know. I guess it's something we'll have to see. I'm just saying, like, in general, I think this opens it up a lot. That I hope a lot of animation studios are looking at this and be like, yeah, it's the Dragon Ball franchise, so it has the name behind it. But I hope this doesn't, I hope this encourages them to, try and at least put something on the big screen like this.
Have a little faith.
Have a name behind it. Yeah.
Have a little confidence.
Make it love.
Get down tonight.
Yay. References. So, we're skipping the weeklies because the fact that we have quite a lot to discuss with Be the Beginning, and which is our weekly anime, because we discussed this off the cast because we wanted something to talk about. And we also have the Dragon Ball Broly special discussion stuff. So we're going to go straight to Be the Beginning with our sexy Tin to talk about it. Because it was his choice, I think.
I guess it was my choice. I'm not really... It's been a little while, because I watched it on Monday and I just binged the shit out of it. And then I saw Broly and everything changed. But... I don't know. It's really okay.
Well, what inspired you to? Was it the whole fight with Gary that we always do that inspired you to like? No, you're going to watch this, and we're gonna talk about why it's so bad. Like, how did you come about choosing it?
Well, it was something that I had come across a few times on Netflix. Just in my queues and whatever, and I went, "Oh, okay, that banner looks interesting." Okay. And then I don't know, ended up doing some more digging. It's kind of like, okay, whatever is cool. And then I was watching this guy on YouTube, Giguk, and he does a bunch of anime videos just all over the place, and he's just hysterical and great and wonderful. And he said something about the anticipation that was built up between before the fight between Izanami and what's his name?
Izanami and the main character's name is Koku.
Yeah, Koku, yeah. The first 3 episodes, I guess, is when that was, and I didn't know, and I'm thinking, oh man, this is gonna be like the final fight. And the way he talks about stuff like that is when he talks about something that he's really intimately invested in, and I thought, wow, maybe I should check this out. Maybe this is the time, and I wanted to watch it, so I suggested it because I didn't know what I was getting into, but I figured if I wanted to watch it, might as well force a bunch of other people to watch it.
Good plan.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess even looking back at it now, I had a lot of whimsy watching through the whole thing. A lot of really cool ideas put in it. You have that odd detective that just seems to know everything, and then you have the general status quo around him to make him look better, and there's a lot of Keith Flick. That's a pretty 90s action character name.
Detective name, right?
Keith Flick, and he's the only person with an Americanized name or a Western name, and everyone else has Eastern names. And
well, his middle name is Kazama, I guess.
That's true.
Obscure point.
But everyone calls him Keith Flick after that one reference of his middle name.
Yep.
Keith Flick. And I guess if I'm going to complain about a couple things, his character isn't super consistent either. He has this general mastery about the situation that's going on, and it's kind of peculiar. He's just super aware, and you kind of understand later. You understand later on why he is so on point most of the time. It kind of has that Metal Gear twist in the fact that it's not just him guessing it or observing things. It's certain things are going that way because he's being directed as well. So it has that Metal Gear-esque type of effect to it.
He's I felt a little bit of how Death Note was, where it's you have this genius kind of, not main character, but he is a main character, and he is a genius detective, and he plays that role really well. Gary had even mentioned that they got the same English voice actor, to do him that they always do for the detective in every anime series. And he's very, I think he's very, very cookie cutter or cookie cutter detective in a lot of that regard. Is that he's very smart, but he's very in his own world.
Yeah, it's a trope, and not just anime trope. It's a general storytelling trope. And I don't know, like I'd say he's interesting enough to get by with it in the first couple episodes, and like once he starts getting grounded in things, it's fine. But he doesn't like stick with it, and I wish that if it, he had been more consistent in that, like if he were so aloof, he would still be, more directed in different fronts. But yeah, I don't know.
He worked well because of the characters around him, including the main well, how do I want to put it? The main antagonist of the human side of things, not the main antagonist of the, shall we say, the Koku's world.
Yeah, the non-Koku.
That's how this kind of broke down. Is that you have these two main stories, and they just cross over at points, and it creates a lot of confusion as a whole, to the point where you watch the series and you'll be thinking about it for days later, and kind of pieces will start to fall into place, and you're like, oh yeah, I get it now. And that's not really for everybody. I enjoyed it.
I did too, in general. But there were a lot of times. There were certain things, because it's that sense of that feeling that people get when they get so invested in certain aspects of shows, they just kind of ride along the weird shit just to get to more of the stuff they like. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of that in Be the Beginning. Nothing was super backbreaking for me, but there was a lot of I don't really know what's going on, but it doesn't really seem to matter in what's actually going on. So whatever, it's just wasting 10 minutes. I don't know.
Well, a lot of that comes back after, though. You're like, oh wait, that wasn't actually.
Yeah.
It's just such a waste.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say, then generally there's not much wasted because it's only 12 episodes, right? But
yep.
Which is kind of nice because I feel like something like this having too many more episodes would have just made it redundant as fuck.
Yeah.
But you have that thing where you have these two narratives going on and two stories running kind of alongside, meeting every once in a while, and there are a lot of things that don't get touched on, which is kind of fine because it leaves a little bit of whimsy, but I don't really quite understand things like the rules of the deities and the powers and stuff. I don't really quite understand all that.
Yeah. And I think that they kind of left that purposely mysterious, but not in a good way. Because we're just kind of finding out, well, can I wax on for just a minute about this? Because I want to get to, I really want to hear both of your guys' opinions on this, because, well, and you're not both.
I'm just waiting for Gary.
So, yeah, I'm waiting. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm waiting for Gary, because my first introduction to this was just, I opened up Netflix, and it was another one of those where thing that came up in my, what's new you might like feed. And I watched the opening trailer, and they had talked about, and all they showed really was there's this serial killer out there named B, and Keith is the main character, and he's got to be the detective to bring it down. And I'm like, oh shit, a cool new paranoia agent, a story about a detective trying to catch a serial killer. Yeah, I like those. I always like those. Those are always fun because it's two geniuses in a chess match. Those are always the best. Death Note, I Saw the Devil, Psycho-Pass, Yu-Gi-Oh! God damn it. But so I got excited, and then you watch the first episode, and they reveal who B is right in the beginning, in the first 15 minutes. So okay, they marketed it because that's not what this is about. This is about this genius detective trying to solve an ages-old case, believing that this B, who everybody's saying is this serial killer on the loose, is his main target. And it turns out you learn about B, who is actually Koku, the protagonist of the story, has his own stuff that kind of intertwines with Keith's past and who he is, and he's basically a superhuman god type character. Because your first introduction to Koku is he's walking on the roof of the building and then he jumps on. And you're just like, oh, And that's his daily routine. Like, okay, so he's a superhuman of some sort. We don't know. And then the story starts opening up, and you have, like, you have supporting characters like Lily, who I absolutely loved. I thought she was a great, strong female supporting lead because she was smart. She does kind of get into the damsel in distress mode later on in a really tense scene between the real serial killer and because there is a serial killer aspect to this that was a pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting it. When they started opening up into the secret society thing and the Joker gang and all that stuff, I was like, okay, so it's in this, and there's no
my wording.
And that, yeah, well, no, I like it. It is a very good description of this game, because if you were to take the Jokers from Batman's personalities and set them all up into these characters, that's basically who you'd end up with. You'd have the mastermind, you'd have the shadow mastermind, you have the insane psychopath that wants to eat people. You have the expert killers. I mean, they're a really good bunch. Not a whole lot of depth to them in the story, I felt. But once you find out kind of who's orchestrating everything and who's pulling the strings behind everything and what this secret society really is and what Koku was a part of, the story comes together in a pretty interesting way. And there really isn't a whole lot that ended up pissing me off in the end about it. Like, everything down to the music, the action scene, even though there was a final scene that was telegraphed from miles off, basically like the third episode, because you're waiting for it to come up and it doesn't until the final attack in the final moments of that big final.
Oh, yeah.
So you see it from a mile off, but it's still, I don't feel like it was incomplete. Like, I felt everything came together well. Now, that's my opinion, and Gary finally watched it. He hated everything about it, and I really want to hear what you didn't like about it, Gary. No, honestly, I'd love to hear your opinion on something that you hate, but that I love.
I won't say I hated every single thing, but the majority of it. Okay. God, where to start? The story. I do not understand how this story could be enjoyable. Because, like you said, it has these two different stories being told at the same time. And to me, I just felt like the connections you were talking about are forced connections to make it into one story. You have a story about a detective who's a genius, who, like every typical anime detective in every goddamn anime in existence, thinks he's too smart for everybody else and wants to do every single thing on his own because everybody is too stupid to be on his own.
I'll be honest, he just reminds me of L from Death Note, in a way.
Exactly. Every anime that has a detective like this acts exactly the same.
Like, I knew
and
this was
and the same
happen.
Voice actor. And the same voice actor, apparently.
You have a team that's supposed to be helping him that is utterly worthless up until that show demands that they become useful, which is the last 2 episodes of the show, if even that. And you have a female character who I enjoyed at first, and then I started to see what I did not like about her. And that is the fact that she, once again, like every anime of this type, acted exactly the same as the main female character of those animes, where she falls in love with this detective who calls her dumb, stupid, moronic almost every episode, tells her to get out, and she falls in love with him, and then when everybody points out that she's in love with him, she gets shy and runs away, or changes the subject, or gets angry. It was dumb. It was overdone.
That's not how you get in relationships. That's how I got on all my relationships.
Everybody ran away from me.
So may all my relationships come through. Well, they end up the same way as the main serial killers do, you know. But
or you just rig them for them to end you, or?
I play a long chess game in which I know that my opponent will eventually come for my life. No, come on.
And it comes down to how it's written too. like you talked about, Keith's inconsistencies, and it's so obviously done like episode to episode basis. Because here he is pretty much treating everybody like shit, like he's the greatest thing in the world. And then, what is it, episode 9, he tells, the actual serial killer that he's going to catch him this time because he has a team helping him. He's going to do it with a team.
Yeah, he grew as a character. What's wrong with that?
He didn't grow as a character because he still told everybody they're useless. How is that growing? And then at the end, he still did it on his own. He still said, screw you guys, I'm going to go do it on my own. What is the point of that whole conversation he had when it was still all about him?
He put his trust in Koku, though, to carry out his plan.
His plan had nothing to do with what he wanted.
You don't have truths, Gary, right?
Has nothing to do with what he was going on here.
The main serial killer was the one who was orchestrating everything, though, and that's where it ties into.
Because they needed to tie in what should have been a good story about a guy trying to catch a serial killer. The first half of episode 1, episode 9, and episode 8 are the only good episodes of this show. Because they took away all the stupid shit about demi-humans, cloning people, whatever the hell they did, stupid sarcophagus crap that they had to translate to create these superhumans, and all they did was become insane because they couldn't drink gold.
Yeah, the gold fluid that they had to stick in their eyes to have that one. Where is this from?
The Black Demon King, whatever the hell that is. All stupid bullshit crap that never should have been in this show. All it did was distract everything from the main story. Who's the main character? Is it Keith? Is it Koku?
It's supposed to be Koku, and it's about Koku's journey to find his lost love from this that's part of this organization or something. Like, he's got his own goals and morals and things that he feels he needs to do. And when he comes across Keith and they realize that their pasts and their futures now intertwine, it's only through Keith that he can... Through Keith and his interaction with Izanami, whom I really want to hear Tim's opinions on, through that kind of their relationships in the past, which led to these results in the future. And before the end of it, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if Koku's going to survive his final battle. You don't know if Keith is going to survive his final battle. And so instead of, in my opinion, instead of doing like a big prologue thing, which most animes do, I like this because they don't really show you everything up front. They don't show you people's pasts until later on when it actually matters and you're beginning to understand why everybody's plans are starting to turn into what they are. I'm not saying it's done great. I'm just saying it was done different enough that it actually did really keep my interest into, like, whodunit, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this happening? Who were these kids? Like, it all kind of comes together. For me, it did, despite the tropes.
To me, it completely gets in the way of the story. It's completely unnecessary, and it didn't have any purpose. In my opinion, it served no purpose in having this story. Because he's trying to save a girl that only appeared in 3 episodes that I don't give a shit about. Because literally, they did nothing for me to care about this girl that he's trying to find. Nothing. But it's the same thing. It's my same problem that I had with Cowboy Bebop. I'm supposed to feel bad about what happened to him at the end? Why? Why am I caring about what happened to him at the end when the main story of this 13 episodes or however long Cowboy Bebop is, 1 episode is dedicated to his fucking backstory. And I'm supposed to give a shit about it.
Well, yeah, because he's the main character that you went along with all this entire journey. Did they not do a good job of making you want to care about these characters?
No. I literally did not care about a single character in this show. Not a single one of them. I literally could not care less. You have the dude, wow. the typical guy who's dressed like a 40s gangster with this fedora, wearing freaking red and blue sunglasses like he's watching a 3D cartoon or reading a 3D book from the 90s. You got the typical child killers who are surprisingly twins, which, again, exists in almost every anime. You have the long hair badass dude who freaking sits there like he's some princess all the time, talking about how amazing he is when clearly he isn't, because he just gets his ass kicked in like one hit, which is what happened in here. Thinking he's all this incredible badass who also looks exactly like freaking one of the Valentine brothers from Hellsing. Like literally up and down the exact same design.
Yep, Luke Valentine. Yep.
Yeah.
It's what about the? I know it was short-lived, but it became very important to the story. What about Izanami, and their interaction with B, which was, in my opinion, like one of the best parts of the entire show. The whole hotel lockdown thing, and that first section where we start to see everybody butting heads, like V meets basically one of the first people of this organization, and it turns out to be somebody from his past that he doesn't remember.
The skateboard girl?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they were great. Like that whole interaction, that whole fight, and what it leads up to, how it ties back into the beginning.
Really
it was. It was awesome.
I didn't like the
fighting, the action fights, the actual combat fighting sequences were good. As was the animation. I think the animation was very well done.
Oh yeah, the fighting was my favorite part of the whole thing.
The fight scenes were great. Like the action scenes were top notch.
But what was so great about an interaction with a character who only talks in metaphors and you have no fucking idea what she's even saying?
Well, she's
not
trying.
Even B knows what the hell she's saying. The only
he figures it out.
He figures out because she tells him at the end. It's like, follow whatever the fuck the star thing is. That's literally the whole point of that whole conversation was to get that, and she just tells him that. There's nothing in any of the metaphors that she said mattered.
And everything mattered because they're trying to wake B up because of this old friendship, this old bond that they had. And so that's the moment that kind of sets off this chain reaction in these series of events. And if it wasn't for Izanami basically going against the entire organization and doing whatever they could to help out B, it shows that there's more depth to all of these characters than just what there is. And I agree, some of them are underrepresented. But I don't know. I don't think the tropes took away from it as I feel like you're saying. Like I don't know. I found something there more than you did, I guess. But I was really curious as to what you.
I also
why
feel
you didn't like
the
it.
idea that Keith knows everything that's going on. He knows who the killer is. He admits to that. He knew from a very long time ago who killed his sister. But he did
suspicions.
Absolutely nothing about any of this. He did nothing about it. Nothing. He knew that there was these superhumans who, by the way, did not show any superhuman abilities whatsoever, in my opinion. Outside of, jumping across the freaking screen for 30 seconds at a time.
That's not superhuman to you.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying.
Nothing
were
that a normal pistol wouldn't have killed them with. But the fact that he knew everything from his dad's notebook, that these people existed, that, who Koku really was, and that, Koku was going to seek him out sometime, but he literally did nothing about any of it until things fell into place for him to do something about it.
He's still an investigator. Just because his dad wrote it down doesn't mean it's fact.
And that's what I was thinking. Like, he knew about it, he had his suspicions, and unfortunately he had to wait forever to finally get, revenge for his sister.
Because you can have all these pieces put together, but if they're not, if you can't prove the pieces, you can't prove the puzzle.
Yeah.
He didn't even investigate the pieces.
Did you not see his room?
Yeah, did you not watch this anime?
Oh my god.
I'm going to say, you can't say he didn't investigate. So much stuff was written.
But he literally, his life, he was such a good detective, and then his sister gets kidnapped and killed. He can't do anything to prove it or really nail the killer. And so he goes crazy and just is constantly going over these formulas and stuff like a detective would on that one case they couldn't solve, and for him it was personal. Yeah, it's a trope, but none of it was out of, at least in that regard, it wasn't out of character for somebody who had experienced a traumatic event like that. I don't think. Because motherfucker went crazy. You saw him first episode, he showed up. His hair was all long and scraggly, his beard. Like, dude, have you taken a shower? How long has it been? Like, what the fuck have you been doing?
It's been 3,000
I did Lily solve that. When Lily solved that equation on his ceiling, I died a little.
See what I mean? She was the strong supporting character, and she's like, no, motherfucker, I could figure it out.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh.
She was fine the first half of the show when she was, doing things on her own and rebelling, and then everything became the plot, so she became a plot device.
Yeah, I agree.
That happened the entire second half of the show, and I didn't like her after that. I just stopped. I wasn't paying attention to her because there was other stuff I was caring about. I loved Lily in the beginning, in the first half. But once it took that turn, when it took that corner, she was just a tool.
Yep.
And if she's supposed to be compared, she's one of my biggest issues with that show. If she's supposed to be comparable to if her intellect is supposed to be comparable to that of Keith, then why is she being utilized this way? Why is she not just doing shit on her own? Because she put herself in a position where she could, but she was only doing just enough to get more information for Keith to do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Mm-hmm. And then, unfortunately, she becomes the damsel in distress in the it's kind of I agree 100%. It was a very waste of a good character, I felt.
Yes.
So, Tim, what did you think about Izanami?
She's the real hero of the show. I don't care what you say.
Yes. I'm so happy that you like them too. Because when I first saw that, I mean, I kind of gushed over it just a minute ago, but I really liked everything that character brought to the show in every way. I don't know, it was just something about them that it wasn't just the whole androgyny thing. They were skilled. They knew about the past almost, and they were basically teaching Koku a lesson like a mentor would. So, like, if you pull your head out of your ass, or you're not going to beat these guys. And that's all I can tell you. Boom, dead. Yeah. Again, tropey, but if you do it the right way, I don't think it's so bad. And I really liked Izanami's character for that. I really liked that interaction with Koku. I don't know how I felt about the girl that Koku's after. That was where it really fell short for me.
Yeah, and it's that kind of thing where, like, one area where Cowboy Bebop does it well is that even though you don't have a lot of investment in the backstory, you have a lot of investment into his character in the now, like into Spike's character now. You have his sadness, you have his general melancholy, you have his lethargy, you have all of this and all of that. And when you finally get that answer, all those things make sense. Mm-hmm. And they try to do something like that in Be the Beginning, but they don't do it nearly as well enough because they spend so much time trying to tell these two stories. So then it just becomes this general love interest that's like, oh, okay, cool. It's important to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In a lot of
cases, a lot of the fights and the special effects and the circumstances put behind certain events, like when he's trying to fly up to the base, there's a lot of anticipation for those moments that makes the journey easier to swallow sometimes. Mm-hmm. Just because it's bombastic and anticipated really well, but there's just not the kind of heart put behind them to really put the nail it down as a fine piece of anime. It's just missing polish and refinement and I don't like personal investment because it has touches of it, but it doesn't really encompass the entire show. Like you hear you can kind of tell when the creators are having a good time, and then other times where they're just doing things.
Yeah.
And more often than not, they're just doing things.
At least they're trying, I think. At least they tried with this one and didn't just toss it all out the window for symbolism like Fate Extra.
Ugh. I would like to see their next project. This reminds me a lot of what is that game? Bound by Flame that was on PS3. It was riddled with problems, but it still was charming and had intrigue in it, and I loved the ever living shit out of it despite its problems. And because of that, it made me want to see the other games that they made. And this is a very similar thing. I want to see what the next project is for this team. Because if this is the kind of thing they can do, they can definitely do better.
Yeah, the studio that did it is B Animation. They're in association with Netflix. I don't know what their newest stuff they're working on is, but I'm hoping that if we do get a second season, based on how this ended,
it ended with nothing to continue on. How did it end?
It did. The one dude came back for what he.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You know, they had to continue it somehow. So let's bring back a character that doesn't matter.
Oh, yep. It looks like it looks like we probably will be getting something more in the future.
Studio IG. Or Production IG.
Yeah. Who has fallen for grace, in my opinion.
They did cutscenes for Tale of Symphonia, and they did the Ghost in the Shell series and Psychopaths and Eden of the East. Wow.
They're a great studio, and that's why I said fallen from grace.
Blue Seed, I haven't seen. Paula Croix. Oh, Parappa the Rapper, I guess they do have stinkers in there.
Oh, Tim, no. The port on PS4, yeah, that was shit. But the original Parappa the Rapper, no. I'm gonna punch you right out of this podcast.
I love it.
replace me with a duck. It's fine.
Oh, Ben, you've been quiet. Tell us your
I've been jumping in every so often with how I feel.
With making fun of Tim and telling him he's a dumbass.
Well, you've only talked about the fighting. That's all you said.
Well, that's all I really paid attention to, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
That's why I enjoyed most of it. I am a simple guy and I like my things. And the fighting was really good, and I loved the anime. The art style for that was brilliant. I loved the detail and the animation for all the fight scenes. The rest of the stuff, though... Oh, and the female hacker, she was the best. You know,
conveniently, the only supporting character that did anything worthwhile?
Yeah, therefore she is the best.
Because she can hack?
Was who?
What was the name?
The hacker, the blonde hacker.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's fucking awesome. Yeah, I loved her setup. That was like she had foot pedals, 3 keyboards, 12 monitors, and she's just like doing the whole like super tech detective thing with the hacksaws and she types HAK and it hacks the system. And no, that was actually, you mentioned that, and that's I liked that little bit in early on when the police, like the detectives, realize they've been infiltrated.
I liked during that where the episode where they're going to I think it's a ball or something like that, where they had to save the governor, and they're trying to stop her from getting in, and that just pissed her off more. And
oh yeah,
she goes all like super powered and just like types on the keyboard.
And then that guy gets killed because he sucks.
Yeah.
I love the fact that she was pretty much typing with her feet at the same time as she was typing with her hands. By the looks of things, or something to do with her feet, like maybe changing tabs or something. But she had like
all I want is 10 minutes with her. That's all I need.
5 minutes.
God damn it.
5 minutes will do for me.
10 minutes, actually no. 5 minutes to clean up.
Damn! You make a big mess. Ooh, that's a big mess. Don't forget to bring a towel.
I'm not sure if that's clapping or what.
Yes.
Fine, 15 minutes. 5 minutes for clapping.
Oh my god.
Well, I heard Americans like to clap after everything, so. 16
well, I'm glad you
pumps
finally watched
it.
16
claps.
16. I'm glad Gary finally got his 16 pumps off to it.
I couldn't even get a hard on. What are you talking about?
As long as you got the job done.
Little elbow grease is all you need.
So yeah, I've pretty much said what I felt like. I love the fight scenes. I love the animations. Yeah.
What would you give it?
A 7 out of 10. I really would. I enjoyed it enough that I look forward to a second season.
Very nice. That's respectable.
Yeah. People stop sending me friend requests.
Gary?
No.
3 out of 10.
Damn.
Okay, he said 3 out of 5. Okay.
3 out of 3.
3 out of 10 divided by 2. Minus 1. Tim.
I'm gonna jump on Ben and say a 7 as well. It has its flaws, but it has a lot of endearment that, though it's not maximally, its potential is not reached to its maximum, but it
references.
Yeah, it was.
You know, Brolying movie coming up soon.
Yeah, it did its thing.
Well, I will give it I want to give it a 7.5 and the 0.5 extra for me, because I think it is roughly a 7. But the music, I fucking love it. I love the music so much. Even though it was short, I loved the opening intro sequence. Yep. And that ending song it's called "The Perfect World," performed by Marty Friedman with Man on a Mission's vocalist Jinken Johnny. And it's just such a fantastic song that they wrote for this that I think it deserves an extra little effort, an extra little oomph. So 7.5 for me.
I like it.
I still love you, Gary. I just want you to know that.
Can you give me back my 5.5 hours?
Well, hopefully I can. Hopefully we can give you. How about this? This we can give you a better 5.5 hours than you felt this last one.
We've got to pick a weekly anime.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to decide
won't pick
this
anymore.
week?
Whose turn is it? I
feel like we've reset really.
Well, I won't be picking for a long time because.
Wow, well, I can't pick because I gotta go through all the shit anime I've watched, so you guys can enjoy something.
I want to go with Sailor Moon Crystal season 1.
None of us except Tim can watch that.
What are you talking about? You're the only one that can't watch it, Gary.
Do you have Hulu too?
Because Gary's old school.
Ben doesn't have Hulu.
I'll find a way. Life finds a way.
Ian Malcolm.
If I have to buy the Blu-rays, I will.
I've got Hulu.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Let me know how it's good because I have no way to watch it.
Why don't you just piggyback off of Chris?
Yeah. Well,
just go over to his house and watch it.
I'm going to discuss this sometime later in the week, but why don't we have a rabbit night?
Yeah, we can all watch it together.
A rabbit night?
Yeah. Rabbit is a service that allows you to watch what other people are watching.
Oh, yeah. I've been wanting to do something like that because I think it'd be fun if we talk shit while we watch a bad anime.
We could do a live anime rabbit night podcast.
Yeah, we could watch Fate Extra.
Watch Be the Beginning again? Fuck, man.
We could watch Fate Extra and just swear the whole time.
Let's watch the second season of Fate Extra.
Man. I just
now that you mention it.
That is so much better than Be the Beginning.
Let's go watch season 2 of Sword Guy.
Okay, and with that statement, nobody can respect Gary's opinion ever.
So again, better than Be the Beginning.
Better than Be the Beginning.
Man, if anybody, man.
Wait, did he just say Sword Guy season 2 is better than Be the Beginning?
He's trying to say that Fate Extra is better than Be the Beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's nice having you on the anime podcast, Gary, but Gary's now been replaced by Steve the Seagull. Steve the Seagull. What do you think of Be at the Beginning? Good opinion, Steve.
Oh, look, Steve says it's absolute garbage and you should throw it in the dumpster fire.
Oh, looks like Steve the Seagull's been replaced by Benny the Badger.
Benny the Badger has the same opinion. You're going to go through animals pretty quickly.
Apparently, Gary lives on Animal Farm.
I am an Animal Farm.
Why do you think Chris Vack's coming over here?
Oh my god. there to see his dog, so he's not wrong. I love Kai so much.
So the guy at the top.
No, seriously, what? Oh, not that much. What anime shall we pick? Who shall pick?
I'm seriously.
Are you serious about? Yeah. Seriously, Sailor Moon?
All right, I wanted to watch it. Someone said I should watch it, so I want to watch it.
So it's Sailor Moon. It's Sailor Moon Crystal
season 1. Only the first season because they said it was like 12 episodes the first season. So.
JoJo's.
Let's see. Sailor Moon. You said Crystal is on Hulu?
Yep. JoJo's.
Chris can do JoJo's because I want to watch JoJo.
To be honest,
potatoes sound good.
Oh my god. Yep, Sailor Moon Crystal on Hulu.
Gary likes candy.
Fuck it. Let's do it first season.
Is it Hulu.com? Go check out Hulu.com if you want to watch your animes such as the Dragon Balls, the Sailor Moons. I can't access it because I live in England, but I will also name some other famous animes you might be able to watch at Hulu.com in North American and Canadian residents, probably.
And good news for Gary, Sailor Moon Crystal is dubbed.
It's dubbed, Gary. Aren't you
okay,
happy?
why don't I just go fork over $15 to watch it?
Gary, do you want...
What if I pay $15?
Do you want to come over to my house and watch Sailor Moon Crystal with me?
You're never home.
Yeah. Okay. All those times where Gary has berated you and belittled you for not hanging out with him or talking to him, and then the time you offer it, he doesn't want to.
Yep.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just sayings.
Just Super Saiyan.
So we're going to wrap the podcast up now. Fake, kind of. Because we're going to, Gary, Tim, and Chris are going to talk about the Dragon Ball Broly movie stuff. So, Gary, how can they contact you, and have you got any shout-outs?
Shout-outs to, you guys, as always. Shout-out to Fonzie, I miss you. Want to talk Broly with you whenever you get a chance.
Broly.
Broly, yeah. Klaus, we need you back as well. So hopefully soon. You can reach me on everything at Gaglalush, that's GAGLAUSH. Unless you enjoy Be the Beginning, then go fuck yourself.
Oh, that's so mean.
All right, I guess I'm just going to be unfollowing.
Yep, unfollow.
Hang on a second, let me do this.
Finally.
Unfollow, unfriend, ignore.
The guys who never like my comments are unfollowing me. What am I going to do?
Unfollowed. Okay.
Chris, how can people contact you and follow you? And who?
If for any reason anybody wants to contact me because they're interested in enlarging my penis, you can get me at Twitter at Evangel. That's DEVANGIEL.
No, that's something I can get in front of.
I would love to thank my wonderful friends here, you three. Yay. I would love to throw a shout out to my other friends here who are not currently here, such as Neil, Alphonse, Klaus, Rin, aka Ernest, and yeah, friends, fans, family. It was awesome to finally get to talk about Be the Beginning, and yeah. Let's talk about Broly.
Let's talk about Broly.
Tim hasn't done his shout-outs yet.
No, it's fine. I'm not a person. I get it. Let's talk about Broly.
Well, I want to do my shout-outs also. And I'm the host.
Okay. I can't wait to talk about Broly here in a few minutes after everybody else is done with their stuff.
Tim.
How's that?
Nope, too late.
How can they contact you and you've got any shout-outs?
They can find me at Tim Borelli on everything. Basically, it's easy. Fonzie, I think about you every night.
You can find me at MGR_Chili on Twitter. I'd like to shout out to Maelstrom Radio, twitch.tv/Maelstrom. Shout out to Shields at twitch.tv/Shields. Shout out to Music Cars Next via Twitch.tv. And shout out to Phoenix Down Radio with the amazing Clouds at Twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio. Shout out to Moogle Go Around Radio at Twitch.tv/Moogle Go Around Radio. Also shout out to Checkpoint at Twitch.tv/CheckpointXP. Also a shout out to the people that follow us on Twitter and those that asked if we're coming back. We're back, and we'll be back every week from now on. Yep, we're back to a weekly anime podcast. I'd like to shout out to Manga UK for actually bringing Dragon Ball Super Broly out here so fast. I mean, it's not out here yet, but you know, it's not long now, and they timed it.
Could have been better, but
you know, I said on the podcast a while back. I don't know if you guys remember it, that they'll release it for my birthday. It'll be a birthday present for me. And guess what? They released it on my birthday. So thank you, Manga UK, for releasing it on my birthday. You listened.
Everybody listens to your podcast, dude.
That's because I'm on so many. They have to.
Chili's everywhere, and that's just how we like it.
So anyway, by the way, Naruto to Boruto, I just logged in and they got a load of free items for New Year's Eve. I just noticed that was cool. Thank you for the free items, Namco. They gave everyone some rice cake accessories and like New Year's t-shirt. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
There was something else about Dragon Ball I was going to announce, but I can't remember. Oh, the Dragon Ball Action RPG that got teased. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, 5 minutes MG_Chili. This is the end of the podcast. If you want to listen further, it will be a Dragon Ball Super Broly spoiler discussion. So if you haven't listened, if you haven't watched the movie yet, or listened it with your eyeballs, then you know, end the podcast now, and you know you're not going to miss anything. You're not going to spoil yourself. But if you have watched the movie or you don't care about spoilers, then the discussion will happen right now. I don't know who's going to host.
Alrighty.
Go ahead.
Gary, since okay, let me let me introduce you. No, I don't want to throw you under the bus. I just want to introduce you because I want to say thank you to Gary. Gary took me to see the Broly movie last Thursday night. I went with him and Ed. Gary paid for my ticket, and
did you pay him in kind?
Yeah, I need to. I owe him big because it was fucking
wow.
amazing. But it was basically I look at it as a birthday present too. So
yeah, you know how he repaid me? He got food without me and ate it.
My God!
Before I got there.
I didn't know when you were going to be there. I was hungry, and it's not like we planned reservations at a restaurant. I just went and got a small personal pizza from the Pizza Hut there at the movie.
My text message was literally, "I'm driving. Wait."
Oh my God! No, it wasn't.
Oh my God!
Yes, it was.
This is what I told you about, Tim. Not even 2 seconds into the date already, and Gary was already mad. But yeah, it was awesome. And so again, I want to thank Gary and Ed for taking me. Love you both. Gary, you are my shining white knight of Dragon Ball. So please introduce it.
Okay. Yeah, Dragon Ball Super Broly has brought Broly into the Dragon Ball universe as canon now. Broly, Paragus, his father. We got freaking Gogeta is now canon. Good stuff. Good anime. Good movie. Not the best, but very, very, very good.
What did you like about it? Like specifics about it. I love the story in this one. They did a really good job, I think, of fleshing everything out. And giving some personality to Broly, you know.
Yeah. So the things I absolutely loved. Obviously, the animations here were night and day compared to your weekly TV show. But the thing that I believe I love the most about this is the first half of the movie. And, the whole backstory of Broly and Paragus, we got also a lot of explanation of how Saiyans are pretty much raised. They're pretty much raised in test tubes rather than, in a crib or, being held. Or we don't even know if that's essentially how they're born, through just, combining, the egg and the sperm in the test tube. We don't even know if there is any actual intercourse or anything.
I sure hope there's plenty of intercourse. Did you see Goku's mom? We gotta see Goku's mom. So adorable. Oh my god. I about died right there in the...
But yeah, we saw how that whole process works. And, it's something we knew about, the class of the Saiyan and where they go and how they end up. But to actually see it now in the past and how all that was decided, I thought was really, really well done. I loved how Paragus looked like he did in the original Broly movie when he was younger. I thought that was a really cool throwback to, and like, I guess you can call it an Easter egg in a way. I thought that was really cool. But, we got to see how Frieza became the leader of the Frieza Force. His dad, it's not that Frieza was more powerful than King Cold. It's just that he retired and he let Frieza take over. And we found out that Frieza is more ruthless than King Cold. King Cold, though was bad, was nowhere near as bad as Frieza was. But
that scene was really cool too.
It was a really cool scene, and we saw King Vegeta, who I believe was voiced by Chris Sabat as well, because he sounded a lot like Vegeta. We saw him. We saw his old school scouters that they used to use, which is pretty much like a binocular, and them deliver these new scouters to them, which was pretty cool. Also as communicators. I loved all of it, and it was so well crafted into Broly's origin story, and how King Vegeta essentially had that power. At first, it kind of just seemed like he was jealous because Broly had a higher power level than Vegeta. Perhaps that was true, but we saw, towards the end of the movie that what King Vegeta said about Broly was like his power will be uncontrollable. We saw that, and Paragus realized that King Vegeta was right away, and
he was pissed about it too. He was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, and for him and everybody there, maybe except for Goku, Broly, when he was at that young stage, probably would have been the better choice for them, because we just how powerful he could become. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I feel like going into the second half of the show, arrive on Earth and, encounter Goku and Vegeta, like the craftsmanship that went into the story kind of really just took a back seat. And they started to rush things really fast. And to me, I think it kind of hurt it a little bit. I'll leave it at that for now.
2 acts.
I feel like the first act was just brilliantly done. Him landing, Paragus landing on the planet, trying to find his son, and finding out that his son killed this giant bug that they themselves were too afraid to fight because they knew they couldn't take it down. And in a way, kind of learning how Broly grew up on this planet. Paragus was just this asshole dad who wanted to save his son, which, is very heroic. It's his son. But then you find out that, which I should also say, it's not something that Saiyans really care about. If your son is low level or anything like that, who gives a shit?
Yeah, you're garbage.
Because they're just flown off to a different planet when they're children still, to grow up and destroy it that way. But to see Paragus, really upset about what happened with his son and wanting to go save him, not believing that he could survive on his own, obviously in this desolate crap planet, which is just smoke and fog and giant ass bugs trying to kill you. It's like Starship Troopers planet over there.
Yeah.
It was it was awesome to see. And, you know, he had this big fatherly love for his son, but in the way that he raised them, he essentially raised them for his own selfish needs to get revenge on King Vegeta, not knowing that the planet was destroyed. And we see, you know, Broly's rage and this anger, but we also see this kind of kindness he had when he made a friend, the giant monster friend that he made, when he talks to the two people that rescued them. And it yeah, I don't remember their names.
Well, his pet's name was Ba, because that was the noise that it made. It was one of those big. It was a big green furry creature that lived on the planet that he landed. And like he used to play, and it was just this giant creature. Basically, eat him in one gulp if it wanted to. But he's like, I had fun playing with Ba, and like Ba's trying to kill him, like eat him for, you know, and he's just like dodging the attacks. He said that eventually, like, him and Ba became friends, and his father didn't like that and shot off Ba's ear. And that's what that pelt around his waist is that he's wearing, which adds to the barbaric look.
Yeah.
And that right there, too, encompasses the entire relationship that he has with Paragus now, is that Paragus loves his son, but due to his power, he had to put a fucking shock collar on him and keep him disciplined, otherwise he'd go berserk and potentially kill him. So they just, it's not that they want to have this fucked up relationship, but they have to, because Paragus has to make Broly keep him alive, but not get so powerful that he'll kill himself. And the only way he can do that is by shocking Broly, and this is the way that he grows up over all these years. So like you said, there's this kindness that is there, that like Goku had. And it's just, you know, he didn't get raised in a good environment. Literally, he did not have a good environment to be raised in.
No, he did not. He did not. But yeah, as far as the second half goes, obviously they brought back a lot of humor, and Goku's idiocy is just always, in a way, fun to watch. But this, in my opinion, is the second half where I felt that there's a lot of things they should have done better, and I started to notice a lot of cracks in, obviously, continuity, in my opinion, and what had already been established. And to me personally, the biggest fault of this entire movie is Frieza.
Before you even say it, I know exactly what you're going to say because I feel the same way. But Frieza getting his ass beat.
Well, it's not just that. I understand why Frieza plays a key role in the movie because of his past with the Saiyans, and you know, his Frieza Force are the ones who find Broly and his dad on this desolate planet. But I think the problem comes in the form of what they're trying to do with Frieza as a character at this point. Because at the beginning of the movie, when we first see Goku and Vegeta, you know, they're fighting, they're training and stuff like that, all we hear about was the big mistake of letting Frieza live was.
Yeah, Vegeta's pissed off at Goku.
Super pissed, and the fact that, you know, he's gonna come back, he's gonna try to kill us, and then we find out, you know, he's coming back, you know, he's getting the Dragon Balls, and there's this fear of what his wish was gonna be. Obviously, they believe it's gonna be to be immortal, and in reality, his wish is probably single-handedly the dumbest wish anybody could have made in the entire. You know, Oolong's panty wish was more useful than what the wish Frieza wants.
I know where you're going with this.
And it also comes to a head with Frieza as a character in this, where his entire purpose in this movie was, in my opinion, was to be there because of his connection to the Saiyans. Because here he comes back. Goku and Frieza already know that he wants to destroy Earth. He wants to kill them. obviously he has this new weapon in Broly that he wants to test. Frieza, obviously not knowing how powerful Broly is, thinks, he's more powerful than him. And it gets to the point where Frieza, yes, Broly eventually starts fighting Frieza, and yes, he gets his ass kicked, but in reality, if you look at the situation that's happening, Frieza lasted longer against Broly than both Goku and Frieza combined.
Mm-hmm.
He went an hour and 30 minutes, technically. and was still able to keep his golden form.
He tanked all of that damage, still kept his golden form. And dude.
This is technique Golden Frieza from Dokkan Battle at his finest, right?
He just took, it was such a perfectly framed scene there, though. Nope, wrong again. Another 30 minutes. And Frieza's just getting the shit beat out of him. Nope, wrong again. Another 30 minutes. And he's just getting wailed on again. And you're like, God, it's such a wonderful joke, but it does kind of undercut the power level thing, which never mattered in the first place, anyways. I guess
because it again goes to show is Frieza in golden form powerful or not? Because since Resurrection F, they have just made him look weaker and weaker and weaker every time they fight him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's such a very... What word am I trying to find?
He's being ripped off, you think?
I think he is, because in Resurrection F, we knew golden form was more powerful than Super Saiyan God. Blue. We saw it. Goku couldn't go toe-to-toe. He lost because he couldn't sustain that level of power. We know now that he could, because, it's been a long time he's learned to control it more. And we knew he can control God power, because, in Super, they try to hit him with it, and he was able to control it.
The destruction energy, he's powerful enough to control that. But
and then
still not powerful enough.
Yeah, but then we go into Tournament of Power, and Golden Frieza is more useless than Master Roshi is in the entire tournament.
He gets one-shotted by Jiren at one point.
Not only that, when he goes golden, he can't even fight Dispo. He couldn't go toe-to-toe with Dispo. What the hell? Why? What is going on here? And it all kind of circulates back into this, where, okay, you're fighting Broly, so obviously Legendary Broly is going to be more powerful than Golden Frieza, but the problem for me going towards the end of the movie is, again, the whole purpose of, Vegeta and Goku arguing of bringing back Frieza and keeping him alive is what happens at the end, where they essentially just let him go. He came back to Earth to watch them die and probably help kill them. And as he's trying to destroy the ship that these two random-ass, unknown Frieza Force soldiers are trying to run away from the planet, Gogeta just, grabs his hand and he's like, no. And Frieza just kind of smirks oh, okay. It's like Frieza is, I don't know, he's the new Boo, but yet he's still evil, but yet they know they can take him, so they don't think they need to worry about him. So they just let him go. And it's every death that's happening right now in the universe should be on Goku's and Vegeta's head. It is their fault that every person that's being killed by Frieza Force is on their head.
Because there's a scene after where they're just massacring a planet of these cute little blue things that are in their homes, and yeah. No, there's something. There's another popular series that does that, Gary. What is it?
What is it? I don't know.
It's the core. It's become the core focus of the entire Batman thing, is that he never kills, and when the Joker goes out and massacres people, isn't it Batman's fault because he doesn't fucking stop him once and for all? So no, I agree. Right here, it's oh well, we'll just let Frieza go again. And Frieza almost becomes this Darkwing Duck type villain, where each episode he hatches a plan and then, I'll get you, I'm Goku and Vegeta! And you're just like, no, don't. This works. I felt that this worked well for this movie, but I don't want to see this become a recurring thing that's happening with Frieza. Like,
yeah, where he comes to stop them, loses, leaves because they let him go, and it just keeps happening. Like, at this point, like, once he saw how powerful Broly was, I think Frieza realistically should have realized at that moment that he needs to stop Broly himself because Broly was going to destroy him. And he should have teamed up with them to stop him.
That's what I thought was going to happen, to be honest.
But instead, he kills Paragus to piss him off, even knowing that this one guy is probably going to destroy him himself. Like, how does Frieza not know at that point that both Goku and Vegeta can't go toe-to-toe with Broly, that he thinks he has a chance, knowing that he's not as powerful as they are?
I don't think he thought it through, because the type of person that Frieza is, Frieza's like one of those master manipulating sociopaths that wants to play the chess game and move all his pawns into place and just see what would happen. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty when he needs to, but that's kind of how Frieza's character's always been in my eyes. Like, he'll let other people do his dirty work until he has to get his hands dirty. And in this instance, it backfired on him because he didn't stop and think through exactly what you're saying. Instead, he wanted to see how far he could push Broly into Super Saiyan, and he knew that based on his experience with Goku, that quick flashback of him killing Krillin would probably be the trick to do it, and that's why. And he made a mistake, basically. He made a stupid fucking mistake, and he was overconfident, and he paid for it by getting his ass beat for an hour and a half by somebody he couldn't realistically take on by himself.
Yeah, and see, that's where my big problem comes in with Frieza, is there doesn't seem to be character growth at this point with him. Because we thought we saw character growth with Resurrection F, where he came back to life. He knew he couldn't beat them, so he's like, okay, I gotta go train to do this. Mm-hmm. So he trained, he got this new form, he came back to try to beat them, but again, he made the mistake of not mastering that. And then we go back with the Tournament of Power, where again, we see character growth with Frieza. He knows he has to work together with them to survive. Mm-hmm. And he does that. And then out of nowhere, here comes Broly, and he just reverts back to his own stupidity that we saw during the Namek saga, where he's overconfident for no reason, knowing that these characters are more powerful than he is, but somehow he thinks he can control them or win. And it's like they did a whole 180 with Frieza and just went back to how he was.
Can I on that point, on that exact point, you mentioned the wish. And I get what you're saying, but I really like the way that they frame this, and I think that's how it ties into what you're talking about. Right before we find out kind of what's going on, Bulma tells everybody what her wish was. She was collecting the Dragon Balls. She had 6 of them. She needed the 7th one, which was located on the ice continent on Earth, surprisingly. I know you had thought that it might be another ice planet, Gary, but it turns out it was.
Well, yeah, I thought they would fight Broly on a different planet.
Yeah, no, me too. But no, they fight him in Antarctica, basically. And Bulma's wish was she wanted to be 5 years younger. Not 10 years younger, not eternally youthful. It has to be subtle so people don't think she has a plastic surgeon. The extreme vanity that Bulma always oozes is there, and I love it, because we're just like, oh my god, are you fucking serious? Are you that vain, you Dragon Balls?
Well, it's great because she specifically mentions you Saiyans don't need to worry about it. They don't age.
Exactly. But it's such a vain wish. And then we see Frieza. He wants to be 5 centimeters taller. And it can't be any more. He can't just go into his second form. He needs to be in his final form, 5 centimeters taller, in order to really show his presence. But it can only be 5 centimeters and no, because then people would wonder if he got surgery. Him and Bulma have the same fucking wish. It's this vain, just there's no point to it other than pure vanity. and I fucking love it because that comparison between Bulma and Frieza ties into what you're saying, is that there is still, old Frieza is still there. And he could absolutely dominate the universe if he could overcome this and not just want to go back to his old ways. He even said at the end of the Tournament of Power, he's like, I'm going back to my old ways. I have no intention of ending my evil. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to run around the universe playing Conqueror, and he doesn't give a shit. And at the end, he thought he found Broly, made the mistake, and that's why at the end he's like, one day I'm going to come back for this planet. Like, I'm pissed that I lost. And so he leaves, and then we see, him still going on playing Emperor and conquering a new world, and, well, what are you going to do about Broly? Well, one day I'm going to make him my greatest warrior. Whatever. Like, he is still big-sided, but old Frieza is still there. Now, I agree with you. The character growth thing was a little disappointing in that regard. But I was entertained by it. I'm not actually sad about how Frieza was portrayed in this movie, because, like I said, it worked, and I only think it's going to work in this movie because if they keep doing that with Frieza, then it's going to get old, and it's not going to be as good. It worked for this one for me. But we'll have to see what the future holds on it. But I just love Frieza's still vain. He's still a vain, Napoleon Bonaparte little man syndrome thing, but he's wiser. He knew to back off this time. Remember in the first Namek saga, he did not back off of Goku because he absolutely could not stand the thought of losing. He's like, I'm Frieza, I can't lose. This one, he backed off. He's like, all right, Gogeta just beat Broly. And even though I want revenge on those two traitors, Chilai and I think the guy's name was Lamo, for messing in my plans, if I shoot them here, he's going to kill me. Again, I'm going to back off. So there is some character growth in that regard, in that he's not just going to be stupid about this with Goku and Vegeta anymore. He realizes he can't be. I think this whole outing for him was more of just something fun to do. When he came across Broly and his power level, that he gets his evil smirk through his ideas, and he doesn't think things through, but at least this time he knew to back off instead of just Gogeta just fucking killing him again. so I don't know. In my eyes, there it worked. And Broly I thought worked well for this, because not just because of the fan service, because we all wanted him in, but the way that they now keep him alive, I think that them not killing, and this is a spoiler cast, so I will tell you, he is alive, he does live at the end of it. The wish that Chilai and Lamo make from Shenron is to get Broly, to warp him back to his own planet, right before Gogeta delivers that final Kamehameha. That's something that I'm so happy that they're doing, instead of, like, introducing such an awesome character and then just killing him off in the first movie. I don't like when they do that to good characters, and this time we're finally getting that continuance, and this end of a age-old grudge. We're not going to get Broly just freaking out berserk mode anymore. Like, we actually have the chance to see Broly grow as a Saiyan and as a character now, and I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for that now.
Tim, you've been really quiet. Are you angry with my opinion of Frieza's portrayal?
Not angry.
Okay. Please tell us.
I think you've missed a few things.
Okay.
When it comes to Frieza. One in particular is you talking about his character growth at the end of the tournament. He didn't really grow. He was at the end of his rope, and on the ropes, and like on top of that, he was backed into a corner. On top of that, it was this. Like, it was like the 20th. It was like the 11th hour, 59 minutes, 59 seconds, like right there. And knowing that he had no other choice, that he could no longer betray his team, that he had to fight with it. That was the only reason. There was no character growth for Frieza there. And saying that he is anything else but Frieza is kind of demeaning to his character. in my opinion, for sure, because it's always been there. And he got into the team just to be the winner and undermine his own team to do it. But once he was just so far backed up, he realized that he couldn't do it on his own. And he accepted it, not just realizing it, but he accepted it. It wasn't like a turn of phrase, and it wasn't a, you know, like a comeuppance moment for him, and it wasn't an enlightened moment either for him. It was just, I need to survive, so this is the only way to do it. There was no like, oh, Goku really isn't that bad. He enjoys that Joker Batman thing, right? But it's not in the sense that he wants Goku alive. He wants to stay alive, and he wants to beat him. He wants to be the one to do it. There's hubris all over the place in him, and that carries over into the show, into this movie. It carries over like beautifully, in fact. And him wanting to trigger Broly's Super Saiyan move is just history repeating itself, because stupidity is as stupidity does. Like, it's not a smart decision, but it's his means to the ends. And he knew what it would bring, but he did it anyway because he knew what it would bring, thinking that it would benefit him. But it didn't. And I think he stuck with it for so long just because it's a situation where, unlike with the tournament arc, he could just blow up the planet and Broly would be dead. He wouldn't have to beat Broly. Broly needs oxygen. If he just blows up Earth, and he'd have no qualms with it. Goku and Vegeta were gone.
Mm-hmm.
If he really needed to, he could just blow up Earth and Broly would be dead. And Vegeta and Goku weren't ready, but he didn't, because he didn't think that it was that far along. Because he needs to be at that precipice to have a decision made for him, like a sense of a common sense for him to be accepting, because he's a con artist and a trickster, and he's that guy, and he oftentimes plays against himself with that kind of hubris, and that's his character, and that's what made his character so endearing and interesting, is because he's as self-defeating as he is a bastard, and it plays well in here. Plus, I gotta say, after watching him destroy Planet Vegeta and do all of his shit all over again, it was so gratifying to see Broly beat the shit out of him for an hour.
Yes.
Well, I wish they would have actually shown more of him beating the crap. Like, all we got was cuts of Frieza in pain. We didn't actually see the physical ass kicking he was getting. I wish they would have shown more of that, because it just cut. It's like they failed the fusion, and it cut to Frieza's like, oh, I'm getting my ass kicked, and then it come back to them.
Yeah, I like that they didn't put a lot of time into the actual fusions, though, because that would have just gotten redundant. And I think that the attention for that with Frieza's end of thing was a similar thing. Like, you have that juxtaposition between the two going on at the same time. You have the fail here, and you have the fail here, and it's just a comic relief. And that comic relief throughout the show actually is the part that kind of like degraded the progress for me. It's like, I mean, I can appreciate, comic relief and shit, but like up in between the beginning of the second act until when they start trying to do the fusions, it's very tense. Even with like the few jokes here and there, it's still very tense. And I love that tension. And once they started doing the fusions, it broke that tension. And it was really just a sign that there was nothing to worry about at that point. We all knew that it wasn't going to be, because these movies are fairly, predictable.
Yeah.
Goku and Vegeta are never going to lose, and things like that. But it was that break in tension that is like, oh, okay, this is just going to be a coast to the end. There wasn't that sense of that. They didn't carry that in. And one thing that I liked about this movie is that once the fighting started, there was what that power scale that really makes shonen a really cool and addicting sort of medium. Like, it just kept going and going and going and going, and it was great in that sense. And just there's this power level here, power level there, this, and right around the time I started to get desensitized by it, was when it was done, and that was really nice. But at the same time, the tension was cut well before that ending, before that. That adrenaline rush stopped. And I was missing that ride at the end. Because, up until Broly and Vegeta started fighting, until they tried to do the fusion, it was all pure progression and pure tension. But then they tried to do the fusion, and it just kind of broke the tension. It was still, the power scale and things, but it just didn't have that compound building on it, and it didn't. I don't want to say it took away from the ending, because it was still satisfying to see Gogeta do whatever the shit he wanted and break realms and stuff.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Gogeta won too easy.
Yeah. But on that note,
I want to talk about that in a second.
Yeah. I want to hear what you have to say about it.
And I am really glad, because I mean, there was going to be that anyway. Like he's just that powerful, and I'm glad that they wished Broly away, because that would have ended him. And
yep.
And even though it was going to be that, that one-hit KO at the end, like it always is, it didn't happen,
yep.
Which I really appreciate.
Yes.
And like that all played into that part in when Goku first went God, and he kind of like bound Broly for a bit. I loved that moment, because all the music stopped. Like, you still had them like engaged, and this energy still built up between them. But Goku's trying to empathize with him and trying to break him out of his berserk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just this cool moment, because even though Goku knows very little about him, he knows that this guy is still much like him in that sense. Like he loves the pursuit of power, but he's not Frieza.
Yeah,
in that sense, like he's not. Yeah, he's just blind. Like he's already seen someone like this in Kale, right? Like, so it's not it's not like a stretch for him. He's seen this,
mm-hmm.
And Goku's always finding the best in people, and that's why he's never killed Frieza, because he knows there could be something there, and maybe he's just delusional thinking because he's Goku.
And most of Goku's friends now were former enemies.
Yeah,
he's mentioned that multiple times. That's just the effect that he has on people.
And I love that, and that really, I don't know, that put like a level of potency in them not killing Broly, because I don't know, like it seemed like Gogeta was just blind to beating him, right, killing him, because that would have been it. Like that attack would have been it.
Yeah.
And like that alone kind of makes me feel uncomfortable with how the show ended, because he went to visit him. And, like, I get Goku wants that, but why would he participate in delivering the death blow and then want to,
I think
be
that
super best friends?
I think that they're still going along with the idea that Gogeta is still a fusion of Goku and Vegeta. It's not both of them individually, it's more of how they act together when they're fused. They fuck around a lot, but they're brilliant fighters. But Vegeta's willing to kill. He's always been willing to kill. He doesn't hold back. Like, if you're his enemy, he will do everything he can to kill you. So I think that's kind of why it was like he had really no other choice at the time. He had to stop Broly and stop all of this. They fused for that reason, and he only had a half hour to. So he had to put a stop to it as soon as possible and finish everything up. So I think it was more like he had to do what he had to do at the time. Yeah. Since it turned out better, he's like... That's why Goku went and Vegeta didn't. Because it's Goku. Goku wants to reach out to Vegeta.
Yeah. Oh, that final line in the show, I was just... Aw. Mm-hmm. I was so loud when I did it, too.
Aww.
It was in the show, and we were in the theater, and it cuts out, and I'm like, "Aw!" I'm in this theater filled with adolescent teenagers.
Everybody looks at you.
I'm sitting there with Crystal, and we're in the theater, filled with, prepubescent adolescents, and I just go, "Aw!" and just feel eyes staring at me. Oh, it's so great.
You can call me Kakarot.
But Broly, you could call me Kakarot. Aw.
Yep. I want to say one last thing too before Gary gets to his Gogeta point. I want to start that by saying that I feel you 100%. I still don't know how I feel about Gogeta being in here, but as far as power levels go and that thing, there was a brief instance where when Goku was trying to go Super Saiyan God, his hair turns white for an instant. And I didn't realize it at first, but I don't know. This pretty much puts power levels at, like, Ultra Instinct Goku and Jiren, and then right underneath that is Broly.
Mm-hmm.
But where does that put Gogeta? Is Gogeta powerful enough to Jiren now?
Oh,
or
easily, yeah, easily.
I mean, yeah. This is what I'm saying. Like, it kind of bothered me that beyond that little flash of power, there was no mention of Ultra Instinct in it at all.
I think there's a lot of things that I felt needed mentioning that wasn't mentioned. But please continue your point.
Oh no, that's pretty much where I wanted to get, because, like, my feelings about Gogeta right now are mixed, and I know that yours are mixed too, Gary. I liked him. I didn't like how it was handled. I didn't like really how that they like you said, Tim, they were kind of leading up to the big one-hit KO. It was nice that they did something different, but that still felt the same. I didn't mind that the humor was in there so much, because that still felt like old Dragon Ball. That humor was still there, and that was nice. Definitely not as funny as Battle of the Gods. But I don't know, it didn't really ruin that so much for me. Gogeta himself kind of ruined everything that they tried to build up with the Tournament of Power more than anything else for me in the movie. And that was my only real gripe, is just kind of how it was. I knew it wasn't going to be handled great. They handled it better than I thought they would, but it still was kind of a letdown for me. Me personally. Well, I know you wanted to talk about it too.
Yeah, I still strongly feel right now, even after watching it, that reviewing Gogeta was a huge mistake, because it already told you how they were going to be. Like, you can imagine other things, but you knew that Gogeta was going to be the essential ingredient. And I feel like showing him in this movie, or in the trailers, or any promotional art, I think really spoiled it. It did. And to me, with Gogeta, it's weird, because in this movie, they essentially just proven that the fusion dance is more powerful than the Potara. And that wasn't the case in Z. The Potara was more powerful.
It wasn't the case in Super either, because we saw Vegito in Super, and he could go toe-to-toe with a god. No problem.
Yeah, and they mentioned, the fact that, we don't have Potara, so this is the only fusion we can do. But the big difference that they didn't mention was that they only lasted, like a minute or two with Potara, but with the fusion dance, apparently it does not matter how powerful you are, you're getting 30 minutes. No matter what. So,
which completely throws out GT's whole Super Saiyan
GT's never canon.
15 minutes.
Yeah, well, GT is not canon, so
I know. I'm just mentioning it.
But like you said, like, fusion apparently is deemed worthy enough to use to stop Broly, who's only threatening essentially one planet, but not deemed worthy enough to stop Jiren and save the entire universe.
Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, though, why couldn't... Maybe, you know what? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's exactly why Ultra Instinct Goku didn't work out, because Broly isn't as powerful as Jiren. So or even Kefla, because Kefla and Jiren were the only two that ever pushed Goku to use Ultra Instinct. So maybe Gogeta isn't as powerful, but Gogeta could beat Jiren too. See, it throws the whole power level thing out of whack. And I know it wasn't that solid to begin with, but it's just kind of like, okay, they're still doing the inconsistency thing, and I don't think that's something that Dragon Ball is ever going to free themselves of. Despite how good this movie was, it's still suffering from its own, drawbacks in that universe.
As far as the one-hit thing goes, I actually have to disagree with you guys, because even though he didn't beat him in one hit, he technically did, because after they fused, Broly didn't stand a single chance. Like, he did not land a single blow. And to me, that is essentially beating him in one hit, because that entire fight was one way, and you knew what the way it was going to end. Because I think it's dumb in a way that Broly essentially reached his peak power at that point, at least in this movie, after Paragus was killed. And I feel like his rage should have grown even higher, and at least allowed him to go toe-to-toe with Gogeta. Unless I missed it somehow, he wasn't really able to do much against Gogeta. And
yeah, not from what I saw. But when Paragus died, he went legendary. And then when they fought so hard, they basically split the dimensional bonds, went into this weird kaleidoscope dimension.
Which is something I also want to mention. I don't get it, simply because Goku and Beerus did this in Battle of the Gods, and Whis interjected immediately to stop the fight, because they were going to destroy the entire universe doing it. It's essentially what's happening when two destroyers fight each other.
Can I try to justify it?
Please do.
It's fucking awesome.
I want to. Well, yeah, that too. But I just want to justify it by, I would think that the destructive energy from an actual god of destruction would be different than, say, these two Saiyans fighting. They may be able to break through dimensional barrier, which I want to point out that Legendary Broly didn't actually look like Super Saiyan Legendary Broly until after they went in there and his rips off. Yeah. And then that's where we get the glimpse of old school Broly really briefly. But I think he was already legendary, and he was already fighting at full power by the time that they fused. And so yeah, he was. I mean, I know Broly's legendary, but they still have to keep the one rule of stamina into account. And for as long as he's going, maybe that kind of is something we could take into account, that he was fighting already at that power level for over 2 hours. And Gogeta is freshly fused, so maybe that too can play into it a little bit. But again, that's kind of the Dragon Ball curse, is that they never say it outright.
They seem to forget a lot of things they set up. Mm-hmm. And to me, these are small things, but to me, they kind of affect the overall story, because I am a massive fan. I'm a massive fan.
Oh yeah, we all are.
Not in any way, shape, or form mentioning that Beerus ordered the destruction of Planet Vegeta. I think it personally really irritated me, because it's again something that they told us he did, but they're still not really making it a big deal. To me, it's a huge deal.
Maybe
and it should be a huge deal.
Maybe they are saving it for a big rematch between Beerus and Goku, now that he's reached this power. Goku's. We've already seen that he's learning how to fight on the level of the angel, because Broly attacked Whis and didn't land a hit.
No, he didn't.
That was cool.
It was cool, but I wish Whis would have landed at least. I understand not interfering in these types of matches, but when somebody is attacking you, I would think that, I think it would have been a cool moment if Whis just slaps Broly and sends him flying across the screen, just to show you just how powerful Whis really is.
Yes.
Or stopping a hit with his finger or something. I don't know, anything.
Well, no, I think that was what's great about Whis. Whis is my spirit animal, just saying. And I loved it. He was being attacked, but he's oh wow, oh.
I know, he's so great.
Oh, you almost had me that time.
That's what I mean. I think he's that powerful. He doesn't even need to stop it. He's just messing with Broly, even though Broly is this crazy fuck off, immovable object, unstoppable force, all of it. He's whatever.
Because he didn't interfere, because he wants to push Goku and Vegeta to that god level all the time.
Yeah, and
he knew what was going on.
Him? Like, and what is this to him? Like, they're still gods, and like he's above a god, really, like god of destruction. Honestly, I don't even want to know where he is, because he's just gonna be, galactical power. It's just insane.
Yeah.
But like, what does that mean to him? Like, if somebody who can do whatever the hell he wants with any universe, wherever, and he's seen destruction, whatever. What? Like, this is where Earth to him is basically just a one of those food vendors, like a food vendor.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But they have him and Beerus have taken a strong liking Goku and Vegeta and the whole family, and we see that because Bulma. This was an insane move.
Letting Beerus babysit.
Yes. Are you fucking kidding me? You're letting God of Destruction, known for his short temper, destroys planets for the slightest. What's the word? Insubordination.
Yeah.
And he's babysitting Bola.
But look at that, though.
Beerus.
Like,
Uncle Beerus.
I demand LR Bola and Beerus right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was beyond adorable. I love Beerus so much. Like, Whis is your spirit animal, Tim. Beerus is mine. I have loved this character.
So you're telling me that we're meant for each other.
We're meant for each other. Yeah,
I've been saying this all along, but you're like, nope, and I'm like, dude, and you're like, nope, and I'm like, come on, and you're like, nope.
Now you know how Gary has felt.
And it took this movie for you to be like, yep, okay.
Oh my god, I love Beerus so much, and again to see his character growth, that he actually, I would say he loves Goku and this new family he's found on Earth so much that he's actually like...
Oh, he's like a new Vegeta.
Yeah, he wants to help in his own way. It's basically like Whis has taken on the training of Goku and Vegeta. We got a great joke out of it, by the way. Oh my god. Oh, are you coming for my job, Goku? Lay around. But this movie did so much for me despite its flaws, and I love that we got to see Super Saiyan God Vegeta. Red hair Vegeta for the first time. I thought that was awesome.
Say, I was so happy to see Vegeta get the limelight in this fight for a lot of it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But then once Goku took over, Vegeta just turned into a tool.
And that's another thing that just bothers me. It's like they're taking their turns. Like, we're not seeing what's going on with Vegeta. What are they doing? It's not like they tagged in. It's like, go help him. You can't be. You can see if you can do it, and Goku can't do it. Why are you still fighting Zepro? And it's always bothering me.
I mentioned that before too. Yeah, that the entire series, Goku and Vegeta are like, no, we can't work together. No, my Saiyan pride is too much to work together, and so the fusion makes no sense. But they tried to save that point by saying that one line when Gogeta appears in front of him. He's like, "Oh, look, you two are finally working together." Like, okay, you did it,
but they're not working together. They
fused.
One.
Yeah.
Some of the other things I wanted to mention, and it's just small things that essentially bother me, is when they say that they never felt a power like Broly's, and I'm like, you kind of did. Her name was Kale, and she wrecked your ass in one move. Like, how have you not felt this power? And the other one for me is, as much as I loved his progression of this rage that he went through, I think its representation could have been done.
Well, they're going to be covering this in the new arc, right? Like when Super comes back.
That's what's rumored, yeah. So like when Frieza kills Paragus, like when Frieza kills Paragus, and he's like, "Oh look, a stray shot killed him," and he just like starts flipping out, and his head starts. That was not a good moment.
Yeah,
like there wasn't that moment where like in the Frieza saga when Krillin dies and you see Goku just snap and transform. This was like, oh, I'm so angry, and then he just explodes.
Well, he was already angry anyway, so it doesn't take much. Like, I feel like anybody could have just like poked his butt, and then he would have been pissed.
They did it. They did.
Like,
I just think it wasn't represented very well. Like, it's one of those things where I said where I feel like a lot of the second half was rushed. Like, especially with the fusion thing. Like, Did they really think Frieza was just gonna last an hour as they try to get this fusion dance correctly done?
He's Tech Frieza, dude.
He's Tech Frieza.
That was fucking crazy.
Actually, I think he's the Agility Frieza because he tanks way better.
Present for you, Frieza. What? The way they do it is so great, though, because they're like Broly's chasing them around, and they just come up on that ridge over, and they just fly over them and go, "Yeah, present."
Yeah, and Broly just like ignores them at that point. Like he's like he only attacks the first thing they see, which is great. I wish they would have shown how Whis got involved because they never show that. All we saw, and we just see Whis dodging attacks. Like, did Frieza like pull off the same move, like, or did he see him, or what happened?
With what you were saying just a second ago, though, Gary, about like how they're showing his progression, I thought that animation-wise, they did a great job. Like, when he's powering up, he looks like he's in pain. He looks like he's being consumed by all of this power, and his body's just like jerking and retching, and his muscles are flaring. Like, the animation, I think, kind of made up for the progression, and I think that was the only way they could do it, is that whole show not tell thing, because Broly transformed like I think 4 times in the movie, because he had his regular state, and then he had his kind of berserk state, like Paragus says, where he has all the strength and agility of a transformed great ape, but he's the same size, so he's still berserk. And then, like, throughout, he's kind of at that, powering up to legendary. Like, the energy he starts emitting is more, his body starts, like, doing the whole jerking thing more.
When he's fighting when Goku traps him is when he transforms again, I believe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That was such a cool moment. I love it.
And then the final transformation was with Paragus.
Yeah, and then when he transforms, like, you see basically all of the light, like, coming out of Broly's body, and then just that, it was really just that scene you're talking about was actually when he's transformed, because it looks like he is in pain, like immense pain, and it worked for me. Like the animation helped smooth that over.
That did it for you.
That did it for me.
I'm sure he definitely got a hernia during.
Yeah,
at least 3.
I agree with you, Gary, but I think they did really such a good job with the animation of the whole tell thing that it helped.
Yep, it compensated for a lot.
Yeah, it did. It really did. And even the 3D was so well done.
It was okay.
No, I think it would have benefited if they did like a flashback moment as he saw his dad dead. Like a flashback moment of a good moment he had with his dad. And seeing that like flashback to know that he actually does care about his dad, even though his dad tortures him.
Well, like, I think that's like the Saiyan pride thing.
Him over the edge.
Well, that's like the whole Saiyan pride thing. Like, Vegeta had a connection with his dad, like a sense of like place and pride and status and things, and like that goes into parent and child relationships as well. It's not necessarily like, oh look, we're fishing together. Oh look, we have this dog snake thing. This furry snake thing, whatever the hell it was. And, it's not necessarily about that. Like, Saiyans are all about combat and being battle-ready and hardened and shit. And, like, he was the only representative of anything that he knew, and he always felt like that was his best interest, even if it was defeating him all the time and shocking him and everything. And, like, it's that sense of indoctrination even. Like, because he didn't know anything else.
Yep, Stockholm Syndrome is a very complicated relationship those two had.
Plus, he's into shocking,
Yeah, well, he's into. But this is the big thing, is that we finally get a service to Broly. Now he's not just an insane, raging lunatic. There's a background. There's compassion. There's something to this gentle giant now, which is what we've always wanted. And now I'm happy with. Overall, I'm happy with. I may have better than Battle of the Gods, not in the comedy department. Nothing will ever beat Battle of the Gods comedy. that was just too funny of a movie. But I mean, as far as like the story growth, the progression of the character growth, how everybody acted, the voice acting, really good job. Kudos to the voice actor for Frieza in this one. He did excellent whoever it was did an I didn't look. I know you guys probably know where to look up. I'm too lazy to see it right now. But
he's the same guy who's.
Is it the same guy? I thought that he had retired before this movie.
No, he got sick.
Yeah.
But apparently he's doing better. So
good.
I believe it's the same guy.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Even better. Yeah. Phenomenal voice acting work. Phenomenal music. Well. Okay. I won't say phenomenal music. Go, like, that was bad. But overall, I would give this movie an 8, personally. Maybe even an 8.5. I really loved it. I really loved it.
8.5? Oh! That's maximum. That's over 9. Almost over 9.
I won't give it a Battle of the Gods is well, like, it's at a 9 for me, strictly because of the comedy. This one is like right up there with Battle of the Gods. Almost a 9. I'll go 8.5 almost.
Yeah, this is my second favorite Dragon Ball movie, just behind the Dead Zone. Dead Zone will always be my favorite.
That's awesome.
I love the Dead Zone so much, dude. It does so many things right.
Dead Zone was hilarious, man.
Oh, such a good movie.
I'm with you. I would give this movie an 8.
Yeah.
Out of the 3 Super movies, and it's no indication of this movie because it is a great movie, but it is my 3rd favorite one.
Nah, this is my first. This is my first of the Super movies.
Behind Resurrection F, really? I thought it was way better.
No, Battle of the Gods, Resurrection F, and then Resurrection F, because it brought back my favorite villain, and I love the animation in Resurrection.
Your fanboy is showing.
Oh my god.
To be fair, the Resurrection F movie was better than the Resurrection F arc in Super.
Hashtag, oh my god, hashtag.
Thank you.
So, I'll stand with you on that one, but I liked Broly a little bit better than Resurrection F.
I did want to say one more thing. I think, and this is a hypothesis.
Well,
2 things actually. I think having Broly now in this universe, technically a good guy now.
I'd say wild card.
Neutral party, wild card, yeah.
Wild card,
anti-hero.
Yeah. It makes Universe 7 severely overpowered.
Woohoo! It just means that they can give Universe 6 something just stupid now.
Well, Universe 6 has Kale, so they had to give the equivalent of Kale here. So
next Tournament of Power, the fight of the millennia, Kale, Berserk Kale versus Berserk Broly. Let's see this happen at the next Tournament of Power.
and the last thing I want to say is the weird dimension that they break into when they're fighting. I personally believe that's the demon dimension. I think that's where the demons lie. I think that's where Dabura's from, where Boo is from, and I think that's why Whis and the other angels fear that dimension. Is because I think we all know at this point that the demon dimension houses some uber powerful fucking character. Dabura. And I think, well, Dabura isn't as much powerful now, even though he was the king of the demons, but I believe that the demons should be the next arc, the next big arc going forward. And I think they need to show why the angels don't want people to go to the
Can I mention that this isn't the first time either that we've seen a clash so powerful split the dimensional barrier? In GT Baby,
ew, don't. Not canon, bye.
Fair enough. I just had to mention it because it did happen.
Get that crap out of here.
That's what I think.
I like it. I am curious, and I am hoping much greater things as the series goes on.
I should also mention the new character that's in the manga, the goat-looking guy, that the arc that they're going into with. They have now confirmed that his power is he devours God energy. That is how he takes away the God's power of Goku and Vegeta. So Super Saiyan 3 is essentially going to be their last transformation. Going into whatever this arc is. Beerus can go toe-to-toe with him because he will destroy Beerus instantly because he uses god powers. So he's essentially Lucifer, and he's the anti...
Very interesting.
So he's going to be a very interesting character going into this arc and what happens there. So, yeah. I think that's Broly done and done.
I got nothing more to say for it. Then go see it if you haven't. If you're listening to this podcast, then you haven't.
Yeah.
Nothing left for you, Tim?
I was going to go on like a Digimon tangent, but it would make sense, and I don't know if I really want to anymore.
You just said it would make sense, so make it make sense.
Well, you know how with the first Digimon movie, it was in 2 parts. You know, you had the original kids, and then you have like the new group, and like the cause of the first one was the effect in the third one, or in the second part. Like the formation of that movie, the first Digimon movie, is a lot like what they did with Broly. It's like you get this like beginning part, and then the effects of that carry on into the present, and the kind of structure on that is why they did it, and I think it really works in an anime sense because you get kind of a instead of having like a full like hour and a half, 2-hour experience all in one, you have increments. You have kind of like almost episodic, where you have like this section, okay, that is this, and you have this, okay, and then they all combine into this beast at the end, much like how an anime would. So they just kind of like condensed it from anime form into a movie, but kept the kind of formatting, and I think it works really well in that environment, while still being a cohesive beginning to end. And yeah, I think they did a good job with that.
I agree. That's actually a really good summation.
I would also like to add, Broly in the black spandex shirt was the hottest version of that Broly.
Breach.
Yes.
He never should have taken that thing off.
He didn't take it off. It just came off because he was so ripped.
Yeah, I wish I can flex and just tear off my shirt.
Oh,
I would like to see that.
I need to get a child shirt and put it on.
It'd be kind of like, oh my god, don't.
No,
Chris, did you see that video of Rhyme Styles? This is relevant. Did you see that video of Rhyme Styles recently when he finally pulled the Gogeta card?
I did not. Did you?
Okay. Yeah, like Ben showed it to us, and when Rhyme finally pulled it on screen, like, you know, he's a YouTuber, on screen he ripped his shirt off. Like, he just ripped it open.
Wonderful.
And he ran away in excitement. It was amazing. So he was just like doing a Broly impression, I think.
And then
he was teasing us without telling us.
And then he regretted tearing his shirt right away because it was his favorite shirt.
But he had done it with it beforehand again, so he had to get another one again.
Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. It was the end of the shirt's life to make way for the Gogeta pull.
#deep.
I just want to say one last thing, too. Chila is best girl.
Oh my god, Breach.
Yes.
Should we let Ben back in?
Yeah, may as well.
Okay, I'm letting him know. Let's try to make like a fake spoiler. Let's try to make a fake spoiler, like.
And that's when.
And
Krillin
that's how Vegeta died.
And that's how Krillin defeated Broly.
And that's how Krillin defeated Broly.
And became the Krill Master.
All he did was get up in Broly's face, solar flared him right away, and then pulled out a destructor disc and cut off his head.
No, he just went up to said, "Look, this is my wife," and Broly said, "Oh god damn, can't beat that."
oh god,
yes.
Man, all I had was a weird snake dog.
And that's how Dragon Ball Super Broly movie ends.
The never-ending joke.
Ding.
Welcome back, Ben. We had a fun discussion. Tim hated me.
You did.
He screamed at me. He yelled at me. But we're still good.
I think that's the important thing, Gary, is that even though you really don't understand Frieza like you think you do, I still respect you.
Okay.
Frieza, 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 Frieza.
All that mattered for the foot fetish people out there is that we get to see that I can guarantee you. So go see it if that's your thing.
Just so you know, Tim, I was going to rebuttal what you were saying, but I felt like we should talk about Broly rather than Frieza.
But Frieza was in there. Why not talk about it?
Because we're taking too much time talking about Frieza in the first
God damn it. Ben, leave again so Gary can make his point.
Nope, it's too late. It's pretty crap.
I am back now. And we're going to end the podcast here because it's been so long. Have a good week, everyone. And I'll discuss Dragon Ball next week.
Woo! Yeah, you will, baby.
Freezer, 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 freezer.
Go, freezer, go, freezer. I can't.
Anyway. Dragon. Rock the dragon. Rock the next
Dragon
Bye.
Ball Z.
Rock the dragon again.
Bye.